Welcome to Policy on Demand's Week in Review. I'm Karl Russo.
What would you tell clients are your takeaways from this week?
My key takeaways from this week is that inflation and high interest rates remain a backdrop for policy considerations, even as House Republican lawmakers begin to meet to prepare for 2025. While the latest report on consumer prices showed we continue to make what the Federal Reserve described as, quote, modest further progress, unquote, towards its 2% inflation goal, inflation remains elevated. The Fed's wait-and-see approach to validating that progress means that markets expect only one or at most two 25-point interest rate cuts this year, and maybe none before the upcoming elections. Meanwhile, House Republican tax teams have been meeting this week to educate members and begin policy discussions in advance of the 2025 expiration of key tax policies.
Which question related to policy did you get asked the most, and how did you respond?
The policy questions I've been asked the most this week related to 2025 and what policies might be extended and at what cost. Higher interest payments by the federal government may make deficit and fiscal balance considerations loom larger than they otherwise would. A full extension of favorable policy on the individual side could cost more than $4 trillion, maybe 70% of which accrues to households with incomes under $400,000 a year, and an additional $1 trillion on the business side, without considering any new tax relief members of each party are advocating during this campaign season. Policymakers may face trade-offs that force them to focus on extending policies that do the most to advance their respective objectives, such as growth or distributional concerns, or consider new revenue sources, such as tariffs, which have garnered bipartisan support, at least at the presidential level, despite any negative economic effects they may bring.
Where should companies focus their attention in the coming week?
In the week ahead, focus remains on preparing for 2025 as the House GOP tax teams and Senate tax working groups solicit input from taxpayers. Senate Democratic leadership has signaled a focus this month on other policy issues related to the anniversary of the Supreme Court's Dobbs decision. This reminds us also to keep an eye on the Supreme Court, as decisions this month are expected to have implications for tax policy and other areas of interest to the business community.